What's up guys, Kyokai1994 here today to talk to you about anything, you guessed it, Dragon Ball, from Ball to Z and everything in between. And to continue my mission of trying to help Shueisha in the Dragon Ball room think of some more ideas for side stories based on the Dragon Ball franchise, I brought along another special guest on this video to help me out. I want to thank and introduce to the channel for the very first time a very kind-hearted individual who loves Dragon Ball and genuinely cares about the spreading of the community, just as I do. I would like to introduce Rakurai Network. What's up, man?
Oh man, thank you so much for having me. This is an honor. I love your stuff, and I just love the fact that I'm on here with you.
Yeah, no, you're more than welcome, man. I've actually been trying to get you on here for a little bit, so you're more than welcome, like I said. More than welcome to always come back on. But, so we were talking off-air about some ideas, like I said in the intro, about what we want to see from some side stories. So, with a recent elimination that we had happen in the Tournament of Power that I feel no one actually predicted, and you and me both being, you know, humans, I thought that today we'd talk about some ideas of side stories for the Dragon Ball room, like I said again, to expand on the character of Krillin. So, I think you're up to the topic, and I think we should start this off.
Cool.
I'm really going to want to say the first one that I want to see through, you know, some of the later years of Krillin's life after he had a family. We noticed that he got a new job, and that job was as a police officer. And personally, I would want to see like an action-y kind of police-style manga that would have Krillin in it, and obviously being the main character. Him being a human and not being, you know, an alien with immense power that can blow up billions of worlds and take over races. Him being just a regular, strong human being, I feel like they can make a serious police manga, and it could be good, and it could be fully about him, and we can have very, very high stakes, intense moments. And the reason why is because he's a human. He can still die, and things can still hurt him. And like I said off air, it's kind of headcanon-y, but I feel like if you're off guard, he would still be able to get hit by a bullet. I mean, we did see Goku get shot with a laser gun through the heart. So, or well, through the chest. So, I do feel that if you aren't blocking or actually ready for it, you can take a bullet. But I don't know if you had any ideas for this police manga that we're trying to let them, you know, make something out of.
Oh, well, I could see it for sure, first of all. I would definitely say that it would be... I would love it whether they took it in the series route or they took it on comedic routes. Either way, I think that Dragon Ball's characters have the special magic about them to where they can work in either setting. I mean, Vegeta, we've seen that he's just as competent as a character, whether he's fighting for the fate of the Earth or he's going Super Saiyan Blue because he feels like somebody made Bra cry. Like, in both situations, it works. And in Krillin's case, he's a very, very special case because I just love seeing Krillin on screen. I just love reading Krillin. Like, just everything with Krillin, I just love seeing it. So anything that they want to do with this particular story, I would love it. If they wanted to get Dragon Ball, you know, more like Dragon Ball fans who may be curious about that manga, but may not be fully interested because it's not dealing with all these, like, you know, multi-universal hijinks and such, they could have a few moments where maybe Goku makes a cameo and stuff like that, where maybe he has to help them with a specific mission that they're on and stuff like that. But I could for sure see that would work super well. I mean, even the moments that we've had thus far in Resurrection F and in places like that, small moments of seeing Krillin being a police officer, those alone were so entertaining that I feel that that's well enough reason to at least attempt to make it its own special thing. Even if it's maybe a short series or anything like that, it would work.
Yeah, something short like Jocko. I mean, Jocko was like a small amount of chapters put into one book, and I mean that would be good. And like what you're saying, off of what we've seen from Dragon Ball Super, we've seen little hints of like comedic timing in his busts and everything. So a gag related manga that would also go on a serious route could actually be very successful for his character, and you would get to implement things like his home life as well, because I mean, I don't feel like they would only show his 10-hour shift as a police officer. I mean, even though it's Dragon Ball, if you go from just culture, Japan seems to have a lower rate, and I've also read some things about police officers being bored. So if he's ever bored, we can kind of, you know, see what he does on the side. I know that it's not exactly Earth and everything, like it's not the same Earth exactly that we live on, but it would be very interesting to see if they still do have a very low crime rate, being a one nation world, that I would like to see some downtime, and I would also like to see some more things happen with his wife and his child. And I know that you personally were thinking about another side story that you would like to see, and I thought maybe you'd like to tell the audience what that was.
All right, well, going back to like his personal life a bit, I would love to, and I'm usually not one to come up with things like this that make me, things on the romance tip of it, but I think a very, very special exception is I definitely want to see, I would love to see a little side story about like Krillin and 18's eventual like falling in love. It sounds so sappy, and it's only because I never really say things like that, but really, because usually romance is the last thing on my line with Dragon Ball, but for the few times where we saw romance be implemented from Toriyama's story, the very, very few times, it worked beautifully. Like seeing Gohan and Vidal's relationship blossom, even though they didn't give us everything, obviously, but they gave us enough to where we knew there was something fully coming together there. And with Krillin and 18, it's a case where, kind of left it at the end of the Cell arc, basically thinking like, oh, geez, 18 really just wants nothing to do with them. And, seeing she and Krillin end up being together, it's a great thing, but it was also a bit jarring for me personally, because I was like, well, geez, I wish we could have at least gotten something about it, like something about like...
Yeah, some context of how they're actually meeting.
Exactly.
Well, not actually meeting, but actually falling in love and like, oh yeah, let's go get milkshakes and hang out and watch a movie.
Exactly.
Like something, yeah, I understand what you mean.
Yeah, and like even more so, it could also show some development for 18's character as well. If they were to have thrown sort of smack dab in the middle between Cell arc and the beginning of the arc, they could have done that, because that would have shown a different side of 18 as well, where 18 was kind of shown to just be this sort of like just cold person who doesn't really care about a whole lot. And so to see her sort of like remove that shell for Krillin, it would have just been good for both of these characters, because we know that Krillin can be a bit of a sappy person. That's just one of the cool things about him. He's human. Emotions get to him, and it would just be cool to see those same emotions get to Android 18 as well. Something I just thought of. That it's a huge stress. Something I just thought of. Mm-hmm. Just makes me think back to how like Vegeta told Android 19 like, do Android ever experience fear? And thinking like similar thing, like seeing Android 18 possibly like being nervous to meet with Krillin for a date and stuff like that. It would just be so. I hate using this word. It would be cute.
No, I agree. You could have a lot more people who want to see a waifu 18.
Mm-hmm.
But with the falling in love thing, the other thing that we can really get out of it, you were talking about being a human. You can see human interactions. Well, unlike the Saiyans, Krillin cares about his family. Krillin wants to hang out with his family. We will have more family moments, I feel. I mean, Gohan's a hybrid, so we still get a lot of him at home, but I mean, what does Goku do? Goes and trains. What does Vegeta do? Goes and trains. I mean, they're gone. They're gone all the time.
Yeah, and they're both great fathers. They're just not on that thing of, there's a certain emotional thing that humans have that the Saiyans just inherently don't.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, and you see this inherent protection that Krillin has himself for like his daughter as well. And I mean, in that whole falling in love story, I mean, you could either have it as a side shoot, or you could have it as the same like continuation of chapters. And I mean, this could even go along with the police action manga. I mean, you could really ring this into one right here. I mean, we have one that we're going to talk about later that's not going to be involved into either one of these. But these two could also be connected into two of the same. I mean, you could have the police and then the home life. And we saw from recent episodes, well, I say recent, but the last set of episodes, that Krillin thought Marin wasn't going to be able to protect herself at all when she was with Trunks and Goten. And 18 was like, she's stronger than you think. So we could also see training between mother and daughter, and we could get a lot of mother-daughter moments, and then have, Krillin in the back or whatever. I mean, you could spin this into thousands of different opportunities, but making a small run of chapters, I feel like would be very successful at the least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could definitely see that too. Like just origin stories in general is something that I would love to just see more of in Dragon Ball to begin with. And as we were saying off air, you said that, his origin story would kind of end upon going to Roshi's and meeting up with Goku and everything. But seeing I don't know, I think it's just because I love seeing Krillin. I think it would just be really, really just interesting to see like how exactly, he grew up. Maybe he has some emotional depth to his character for maybe if there are some parts of his childhood life that are a bit like I don't know, maybe there's someone in his life that's a terrible influence on him, and maybe it explains why he sometimes in Super goes from being very, very brave to being very, very fearful at a moment's notice. Maybe they could add some layers there if they want to do that. I think that's something that a lot of people miss about why origin stories can be important, but not crucial per se, but they can be important. They can fill these emotional things that we don't know about the character. Because we can't really get inside the head of a fictional character. That's one thing that we can't do because we're not them.
The only thing you have is truly what's on the page. I mean, you like you said, you can't get into their head. You can't have a conversation with them off air.
Exactly.
It's a piece of paper with a drawing on it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And if we were to be given an origin story, little details, like maybe there's like we don't know, but like maybe there's like some guy that's kind of like a bully to Krillin at some point, and maybe that could explain like why he seems to be so self-conscious about his height and stuff like that. Like, you never know. There are just a lot of possibilities they could use to sort of deepen his character, I suppose.
That's actually one of the ones that I guess I'll put a title to what we're talking about. I would like to see an origin story of the training in Orin Temple that he had before he saw Master Roshi to train him for the first time with Goku, when they had to compete to be the only pupil originally. And actually, at the 21st World Tournament, the monks that see him that are from the Orin Temple, they are bullying.
Right,
I mean,
I remember
they are
that.
still being rude to him. Yeah, so that, I mean, I really want to see that. I want to see how he was when he was a child, because why did they bully him? Mm-hmm. Maybe he was better than them, and maybe they wanted to break down his self-esteem so that they could be better fighters than him, and that could be a huge thing that, even though this was never thought about in the 80s when it was originally written, like, he could have a self-esteem problem because of them, and it could be so subconscious and so subliminal that, like, he never knew it was from them. But we could talk about that, and we could see that, and we could feel more depth and actual love for this character, and maybe everybody would have been a little bit more sad when he got knocked out first in the Tournament of Power.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like just building that emotional. I'm so happy that you brought that up, because I completely forgot about the fact that they were bullying him. Like, and if they want to take like sort of an adverse effect and maybe say that maybe Krillin's the worst one there, we don't know. But if they want to say that he was one of the lower rank ones that were there, but then that makes his evolution into such an incredible character and martial artist from that point, being able to stand up against Super Saiyan Blue Goku in a sparring match, it would make it have so much more impact. Because if he was just shown to be at the lowest level of his particular group, I suppose, it would just make his growth mean so much more out into his character, but kind of showing this entire theme that Dragon Ball has shown before, that martial arts is just OP, dude.
No, yeah, I completely agree. And the funny thing is, I don't know exactly how the ads work on YouTube, but if you have recently seen, there's a Gatorade ad on right now talking about success and all of the champions who, like, how good they were. And obviously they start off with Michael Jordan. Mm-hmm. And like you were saying, the lowest ranked warrior, now he is one of the strongest, if not the strongest, arguably, human on Earth. The way that Gatorade commercial starts off is Michael Jordan says, "You want to know how you're a legend? Don't make the varsity basketball team," because that's what happened to him.
Yeah.
And he is arguably, again, the best basketball player, especially for his time. So, I mean, it's just something like that. We would get to see this rise of success, possibly, that could be a rivaling story that would go along with Dragon Ball, because, I mean, we would still be... It would be like Super. It would be in between a time period that we were never shown, so you could have some more freedom with what happens, as long as you end it with him going to Roshi's Island. Just like if you end Super... I mean, there's so many retcons that they've made, but as long as you end Super with Oob and Goku leaving, you've ended it where it ended already. As long as you're not changing, and yet again, I know they already made retcons, but as long as you're not drastically changing what's happening, as long as he makes that trip, it works out, and it can be a companion. It's a good little side story, and that's what all of these little side stories are supposed to be. Some of them I would like to see longer runs happen, and I mean, there are going to be some of them that I'm going to dive super in depth because I really sat down and thought about them. But like things like this one and some more about some of the Z fighters, they could be little quick 1-volume versions, just 10 chapters, 9 chapters, something interesting just to read for a few hours, just to make you love the character a little bit more. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to know if you had any last words on anything.
Well, I do want to just say real quick, guys, we know what happened to Krillin in Tournament of Power. But don't start dissing my boy Krillin, alright? Because he tried his best. Things happen, and I still love his character regardless. And come on, we know Universe 7's gonna win. It's not gonna change anything. It's like, Krillin is still epic. Krillin is still great. Krillin, he's human though. It's different from back when he was dealing with these threats like Nappa and stuff, but now you're dealing with literal gods and strongest people in their universes. Him being afraid now makes perfect sense, in my opinion. Like, he's dealing with so much more now, and people can say, well, why is he so scared here? Why is he so scared here? He still said yes to go to the tournament in the first place, right? So, this that was a small little tangent, but Krillin's still awesome, guys. We love Krillin.
No, I completely agree that we still love Krillin. And he saved his wife in one of the most fashionably stylish ways that you can, and she is still in the tournament now. And
exactly.
We know that because of her abilities, you could argue that she's stronger than Krillin, so the save and possible, if you want to call it, sacrifice of him for her, she's in the tournament. Her brother's in the tournament. You know they're going to fight together, and now she doesn't have to worry about him.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's not too terrible. But to close off, I do want to let you guys all know that I will have Rakurai's link down in the description, and you definitely need to go check him out. He is super into spreading the love of Dragon Ball and the positivity in the community. There's a lot of things that happen between everybody on, Twitter and all that, and everybody that he tries to talk to, even if he disagrees, he wants to sit down, have a solid conversation, just man to man, and just talk it out, and then just be friends after it. Just because you disagree about something doesn't mean that you can't not like the person, and that's something that he's really trying to spread in the community, just like myself, and it's really enjoyable to see some other people that are doing that. So I also want to thank you for that, and you're also more than welcome to come back to the channel. And I want you guys, like I said, to make sure you go down to the link or whatever pops up onto the screen. I want you guys to click it, and I want you to subscribe to him, because we're trying to get him to 1K as well. Road to 1K. But did you have any last words that you wanted to say before we stop this video?
I just want to say I appreciate you saying all that. I'm just smiling from ear to ear, honestly. So I appreciate it, bro. I really do.
Oh, I'm glad, man. That's the whole point. I'm not just trying to be nice. I mean what I say, but trying to spread the love myself. So I do want you guys to like, subscribe, and comment on this video. But I definitely want you to comment. I want to hear your side stories that you want to see with Krillin, or anybody else, or any videos that you want to see me make or dive in, or see my insight on what happens in those side stories, and kind of like play that out for you. But I did want to tell you guys to have a great day, and I'll catch you guys next time.